Tonight, President Joe Biden will deliver the State of the Union. It'll be the first since Republicans took control of the House of Representatives. Joining us to talk more about what to expect from tonight's address is Dr. Brian Smith, political science professor at St. Edward's University. Good morning, Dr. Smith. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It is a very different world right now compared to 1 year ago for the State of the Union. What is President Biden likely to touch on this evening?
He's going to touch on his biggest economic successes, which are the lower unemployment rates, inflation's going down a bit, and he's actually going to use this to consider the 2024 campaign. We might hear a lot of campaign-type speeches because he knows the policy speeches are going to fall flat with the Republicans in the House.
Does the president risk sounding insensitive to American concerns, specifically the economic anxiety that is genuinely being felt across the country?
That's definitely a problem that the president's going to face. He's got to stay on script. If he gets off script, he's going to get himself into trouble. So he has to talk about the positives of the economy, trying to restore hope and try to allay some of those fears. Right now, a lot of Americans are saying the economy's on the wrong track and things are not going well. So he's got to walk that fine line.
Let's talk about Republicans now. Sitting behind President Joe Biden this evening will be Vice President Kamala Harris, but a new face to the State of the Union address, GOP House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He has said that he will remain respectful and it will be a polite response to the address.
Right. This is McCarthy's first time behind the president during the speech, so a lot of eyes are going to be on him. He also has to understand that he has only a slight majority in Congress, not the big one that he thought he was going to have. So he's going to respectfully stand behind the president, not make a lot of waves, but when those policies come to the House of Representatives that the president pushes tonight, likely going to fail.
We talked about domestic agenda items, but what about the war in Ukraine that is now nearing the 1-year mark later this month, and also tensions with China?
Right. These were things that the president probably wasn't planning to touch on, but now he's forced to touch on. The war in Ukraine obviously is going to be on the agenda, especially as we're moving more money and more equipment over there. And then the China thing is something that legitimately and literally blew up within the last week. And that is something that people are going to want to say, President Biden, what's going on with China? You're the president. You're going to have to address this. So that's going to take up some of the speech I think he was going to be using for other things.
And finally, Dr. Smith, you did mention President Biden's re-election bid. It has been reported that he will announce whether he's running for re-election after the State of the Union. Do you think there'll be some mention of a future campaign? Because I know you said there would be some campaign-like sound bites, but will there be an announcement at all?
He is planning to go out on the road after this speech, and most presidents do after State of the Union. But I think he's going to try to use this for a little bit of headwind and say, I'm running again in 2024. He can always say, I'm not running again, but I think he's going to use this opportunity to really push that, hey, I need 4 more years to accomplish my goals.
Well, we will find out later this evening. Of course, our viewers can watch the State of the Union right here on Fox 7. Dr. Brian Smith, political science professor at St. Edward's University. It is always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks again for having me.